Hey, what's up? This is Max from Splice, and today we're going to be talking about 3 different levels of piano emulations. So we're going to talk about stock with the DAW, we're going to talk about free plugins, and paid plugin. We're going to go over the Steinway grand piano from Logic stock. We're going to look at the Spitfire Labs soft piano, and we're going to talk about XLN's Addictive keys. And we're just going to talk a little bit about what you can expect from each different level, free, stock, and paid. So let's jump into it. We can talk about the Steinway grand piano first from Logic Pro X. I picked Logic for this because Logic has some really fantastic piano emulations, and honestly their software instruments are really high quality in general, especially the ones that come stock with the DAW. You might recognize the tune that I'm going to be working with. It's one that I'm working with to learn with my piano teacher. It's Dire Dire Docks from Super Mario 64, composed by Koji Kondo. Cool, so with the Steinway grand piano from Logic, the melody sounds something like this. Okay, so that's not bad. I mean, for if you're just trying to put a piano in your track, that's going to sound amazing, and you can absolutely clean it up with EQ or compress it however you like. The only issue for me with this stock DAW plugin is the interface that you have. If you don't really like the sound of it, there's not that much you can do to it outside of a traditional sampler. So let's jump into the EXS24. All right, so this is the interface that you look at when you're trying to edit the parameters of the sound here. So as you can see, it's not really super easy to do that. I mean, you can change the cutoff and stuff like that, but there's a lot of features that are sort of missing here. Plus, this interface is not incredibly user-friendly. Like, since it's a legacy plugin, EXS24, it's a super high-quality sampler, and the samples that they recorded are really nice. However, there's just not that much you can really do to this besides transposition, the filtering, changing the levels and stuff like that. And then other than that, it's mostly working with the multi-samples and I suppose the LFOs as well. But you're not really going to be diving into that too much if you're looking for a convincing piano emulation sound. So it's really great if you want to just get a piano very fast and get your ideas down. Next, we'll look at the free plugin, Spitfire's Labs soft piano. Now, this isn't exactly a perfect comparison because what they've done here is recorded a felted piano, and it sounds something like this. Now, it should be noted that Spitfire are known for really, really high quality orchestral instruments and multi-sampled instruments in general. So this isn't necessarily, their best grand piano. You have to pay for that as well. But I wanted to include this on this list because it's a super, super high quality free piano emulation. Now, it is a felted piano, which is why you get that soft sound to it. It's kind of muffled. And you really only have a couple of parameters here. You have the expression, dynamic, and reverb. So it's really cool that they've compressed everything into such a clean and small and user-friendly interface. But again, you don't have an incredible amount of control over what you can do with the emulation. So I think this is really good for if you want to just get an idea down, or if you're inspired to lay something under, or like have something fit right in a mix, especially for like lo-fi hip hop or something. This would be a great option. And Spitfire's Labs is fabulous in general, so I encourage you to check it out. But we're still not seeing an incredible amount of control here. And that's, because it's a free version. If you want to be able to set individual mics, for example, then you move up to the paid version of Spitfire's offering. So let's try out the paid version. For this, we're going to use XLN's Addictive keys, and specifically their Studio Grand emulation. I mean, we have a couple different preset mixes, which is super nice on this. For example, we have the like wide ribbon preset, which sounds something like this. It means they used a ribbon mic in a wide setting. Now that already sounds really nice, but the real beauty of using a paid piano emulation plugin like this is the fact that you can set the mix exactly how you want it. So like, let's say, you want to have it close mic'd, sound something like this. Or if you're sitting in the audience and you want to replicate that kind of sound. It's a subtle difference, but it does sound a little further away, and that's because of the way that they've placed the mics when they recorded the multi-samples, and then you can go ahead and change that in the emulation. So let's take a look at that. If we were to go to the edit here, and there's also effects that you can look at, but let's focus on edit for now. We can change a lot of different stuff about how the multi-samples are recorded. And they did this because, or how we're hearing the multi-samples being played back. Because they recorded such a huge amount of options, they used a bunch of different mics, a bunch of different placements. You can mix those yourself in a paid version of a grand piano emulation like this. So if you really need incredible amounts of control, like if you want to change what kind of mic you're using or what kind of placement you're using, you can set exactly what it is that you want to be using. We can mix these mics in just a little bit more. Here's the ambient tube and the mid tube. So can you hear those subtle differences in the way that the sound is based on where our mics are positioned? This is with the close ribbon section, as opposed to a super far. So if you really need a specific sound, or if you're really going to be doing mixing that is going to require something that subtle, for example, like if you're going to be recording a jazz pianist, or if you are really anal about how exactly your piano sound comes across, probably a paid version of a plugin is going to be better for you. However, the reason that we're making this video is because the free versions and the stock versions are incredibly usable, and you can do a lot of these mixing decisions in the mix as opposed to during the production process. But if you know specifically that you want a certain sound, it's a lot easier to get it faster with a paid version of a plugin. So I want to shout out Spitfire, Apple, and XLN for making all three fabulous products that have been really fun to review for this. Do you have one that you prefer? Do you have a different grand piano emulation plugin that you like a lot? Drop it in the comments and let us know. And I'm going to go to my favorite preset to play us out here a little bit. That's the Retro Grand.